I mean, usually as musicians, we speak before the music happens. So this is the other way around. So if you can recognize, that's my first performance when I was 2.5 years old. And thank you. You can move on with the slides. So my relationship with the tabla began, I guess, before I was even born, because my father, my grandfather, both have been legendary virtuosos of this art form. So the tabla, as a kid, it used to be my favorite toy. It was my best friend. And today it's become a companion. It's become a force that I worship. It's something that I converse with. It's something that I connect with. I've been trained in this art form for more than 20 years. I've been performing and traveling and meeting people and collaborating with musicians. But I also realize that I'm a Gen Z. I'm in the 21st century. So if I look at it from a macro point of view, does it make sense? I mean, this age-old tradition, this heritage that I'm a part of, and this great musical art form, is it still relevant today? Does it still resonate with my generation of people? So that's the question I'm going to answer today. Hello everybody, I'm Ishaan Ghosh, and it's a real privilege to be here with all of you. What is Indian classical music? Can you imagine, what example can I give you? Can you imagine a bridge which on one side has a 5,000-year-old monument and on the other has a 21st century superstructure? That bridge is Indian classical music, because it connects you to the past, but at the same time, it's a guide to the future. It helps us to know what we were, and at the same time helps us to rediscover ourselves in a new way every moment. Because I always say that Indian classical music especially is the most contemporary form of music. Say why? Because it's completely improvised. We have our structures in place and the fundamentals are there, but when we get on stage, 90% of the performances are done on the spot. So it's what you feel at that moment. So there can't be anything more contemporary than that, right? So that's how Indian music is in a very good space right now. So it's not one of the lost forms that we're talking about, actually. It is having a renaissance. It's being revived. It was always alive. But today, thanks to this day and age, and thanks to, say, social media and so many other facilities that we have, we see a resurgence in the interest in Indian classical music. There are a host of brilliant young musicians who are playing incredibly and making good music. But at the same time, wherever we go to perform, in my own experience, there are tons of young listeners of our generation who are so interested to come and listen and, throng to our concerts. And not just listen, I mean, they go a step further. They want to learn, they want to know more about this art form, and they want to delve deeper into it. So I think it's a very, very happy sign for our country, because it's such an important part of our heritage. So in that sense, the audience is not just a listener today. It's helping shape the musical landscape of this tradition. What Indian classical music can help in today's day and age, when our attention span has come down to 4 seconds. That's what I was having a conversation a couple of days back with someone who is really deep into social media. They said that, if you can't show them something good within the first 4 seconds of your reel, then it's not going to work. I was like, oh my God, because we perform for 2 hours at a stretch. So, but there's something very special about that, right? Because it helps you to take a moment and pause in this fast-paced world where we're like running all around and we're oblivious to what we have to say as people. This form of music really helps you to take a look at yourself and take a look within, and in a way say that it's okay to slow down, that it's okay to take a second and go a little deeper. So it helps you to do that. At the same time, it is a beautiful medium for us to cross boundaries, for us to go beyond the boundaries of language or belief or tradition or things like that. Because Indian classical music today is not just an art form by itself, but it's one of the most premier tools for a global dialogue. And especially, I guess, over the last 60, 70 years, this has really taken shape, because Indian music is today one of the most preferred forms of music for musicians all around the world who want to collaborate. So one of the first forms of music that they talk about is always Indian classical music, because we have such a diverse repertoire. Now that brings me to another point. I'll deviate a little bit, because we have the raga and the tala theory in Indian music. Rag basically means the melodic form, and tal means the rhythmic form. Now the rag theory, we have thousands of ragas that are performed, but they have been composed over so many thousands of years as per the different times of the day and the seasons of the year. So there's been a hell lot of research gone into that. Now what that helps you to do is it helps you to connect with nature, because when you're listening to a rag in the morning, say if you're listening to Rag Bhairav, it really, even if you're not initiated into the music, you can really imagine a sunrise happening in front of you, because it's those set of notes that, you know, impact your mind and your body at that moment. And likewise with the seasons of the year. I mean, since we are in monsoon, we normally play Rag Malhar, and you know, there are so many legends and stories about that. I won't go into that. But basically, our music is based on the Navarasa, or the 9 different emotions that Indian culture has to offer. And so it gives you the entire palette. If you're listening to Rag Marwa, it can really bring tears down your eyes, because I mean, you feel that longing. If you're listening to, at the same time, you can feel really happy and cheerful and peppy if you're listening to Rag Hansadwani, for example, because it really gets you, energetic. If you're listening to a fast, groovy rela on the tabla, it can get you on your feet and make you dance. And this is something that I've experienced time and again from the stage. So it has a direct impact on the human body. So that's how unique this art form is, because it's perhaps one of the most highly developed musical forms in the world. And coming back to the global dialogue, we have to thank path-breaking masters like Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Zakir Hussain, namely, who have really opened the bridge to have this global dialogue with so many different forms of music. Now coming back to the tabla, which is my core subject, it's my companion, like I told you. It has been known as the highest form of abstract art music in the world. And that is because the tabla has its own distinct language. It's a completely abstract language that we recite. I'm sure some of you must have, seen reels and stuff of like happening, and you're like, what's happening? It's abstract, but it does have a lot of meaning. It can emote every form of human emotion. Like, for example, if I have to tell you, hey, how are you today? I can say that in a tabla language. I can be like, dha, and it can be like, your speech is kind of boring. And I'm like, no, I still have 5 minutes to go. So just wait. Okay. So it's fun. So for kids who are learning this art form, it can be made very interesting for them. For audiences, it can be really fascinating to watch how this whole thing happens at a spur of a moment. My grandfather, Padma Bhushan Pandit Nikhil Ghosh ji, was one of the pioneers in propagating the tabla as a solo art form in the West, abroad. And he did that in the 1940s. And that's what all of us musicians have been following all along, because today it's so easy for me to just get on a stage with, say, for example, a Chinese musician, and we don't understand a word of each other's language, and we can still play for an hour together. And we've done that. So I think that's the power of music, and that's the power of Indian classical music, that it's so adaptable. It can be fit into any form of music. It's a form of expression, form of dialogue. A very unique feature of this music and its impact is something that I've been noticing for more than 15 years now, ever since I started performing internationally, is that it gives a rooted identity to our fellow Indians who are living outside of India. It gives them a very strong sense of belonging. It gives them a sense of pride, and we see that when they come and meet us after performances, they're enthralled, they're so happy. I mean, it's not just, I'm not trying to praise myself, it's the feeling they have after they connect with the music of their land. It's a very natural, it's a very human feeling, because every land, this is a little geographic, I mean, every territory has its own form of music, has its own set of notes. It's a painting, abstract picture that you can listen to when you're when you're listening to music. So Indians all over the world, they have an added sense of respect for Indian classical music, because they feel that sense of belonging to it. That's a beautiful feeling that we have each and every time after we meet people like that. So basically, to put it in a nutshell, Indian classical music is a living, breathing art form. It's not extinct. It never was, it never will be, because it's got a very innate, strong strength in it. There have been thousands of great masters over the last so many centuries who have contributed immensely to this art form, have put their lives into it. So, and today, again, coming back to the same point, we have so many brilliant musicians, putting out music there. We have social media, we have AI analyzing ragas now. We have, on one hand, we learned this music under the guru for years and years, and then we can also put it up instantly on Instagram as a reel for a 30-second reel. So it's got so many different facets to it. Learning Indian classical music also inculcates a deep sense of culture and ethics and respect. So many different virtues. Like, for example, the first thing when we meet the guru or any senior musician is that we go and touch their feet. That itself teaches you humility, that teaches you surrender, that teaches you so many things. So, I mean, just diving deep into this art form, you may not be a great ustad. This reminds me of a quote that my grandfather had once said. He said that Indian music should reach as many homes as possible, because you may not be a great ustad, but it's like the water of the Ganga, because it inculcates a deep sense of, sanskar or cultural upbringing in your home. It makes you a more refined human being. So I guess we all need to just maybe give ourselves a chance to listen, to sit back and enjoy. You don't need to analyze, you don't need to learn it deeply. Just enjoy the music, because it has so much to offer. You can just see the entire range in front of you. And we, the young musicians of today, are in a very exciting time, because we have access to all different kinds of music that's available in the world. We can just open Spotify and listen to any kind of music that we want. And subconsciously, that does have an impact on our own musical psyche as well. So I may be a thorough traditional Indian classical musician, but somewhere down the line, there is an influence of, say, a jazz piece that I heard, or a hip-hop track that really influenced me, or say my own collaboration with a Persian musician or a Scandinavian musician. There's music all around the world. So I guess it's a very, very strong unifying factor. So we need to, again, be proud of this heritage that has been, there in this country, that we've been blessed to have in India for 5,000 years. And I'll just end by saying that Indian classical music has been around for 5,000 years before us and will be around for 5,000 years after us. So it's just up to us what we can do in our lifetime to serve it and to make a more vibrant India and a better world. Thank you.